Hello everyone, and welcome back to another XP11 video. Today we're going to be focusing on the Toliss A321. We're currently sat on the ground at Phoenix in the American livery. Today we're in November 997 Alpha Alpha, and today we're going to be operating American Flight 2106 to Los Angeles. Flight time today is going to be 1 hour, and we're going to be focusing on the new update that's just been released for the A321 version 1.1, which seems to have had quite a few implementations overall to the aircraft, focusing on some areas of the aircraft in the FMC and some aspects to do with fly-by-wire as well. Toliss seem to be releasing a lot of updates recently when it comes to their bus variants, and obviously they are working on some other projects behind the scenes. If you don't know, they are currently and actively working on a Airbus A340-600 for X-Plane, where I do believe JAR Design are also working on an A340-500. So we do have two variants in the mix currently, so it will be good to obviously compare the two to see the difference. I'd like to just mention that I'm also using the FT-Sim Fmod sound pack for today's flight, which is a very loud pack. Again, most of the Airbus Fmod packs do come in at quite a loud variant, especially with all the sounds provided with the air conditioning. So at the beginning of this video it may sound a bit louder than normal, so I do apologise for that, but as the video continues everything should go along a bit smoother with the volume and the flight overall. We were having a few issues at the start, but gradually as we leave Phoenix we should be fine, and hopefully no more issues within the video. But now we're going to quickly get ready for our pre-flight, so we're going to jump into the cockpit and start setting up for our flight today. Okay, so we are now in the A321 cockpit in cold and dark, and we are just about ready to get everything set up for our flight to LA. So what we're going to do is go up on the overhead, turn the battery on, and you can tell immediately straight away the Fmod is already kicking in, and it does so as we turn on the external power. What we're going to do is turn that down slightly because we know that that is quite loud, and we will align the IRS, make sure the nav light is on, turn the overhead panel off for the moment. Same with the integral lights, sometimes they start on when you start up the aircraft. That's all good. Cockpit door is unlocked. Is it open? Should be. There we go. And then we can turn up our displays. And do the same in the first officer seat. And there we go. We want to change that to QNH 2 inches. We are in the US, and there we go. So all of our fuel and payload has already been sorted for today's flight. We are travelling with 168 passengers, and we have a block fuel of 5.6 that we're taking today. And what we can do is we'll quickly bring this up as such, and you know what, to make this easier, we'll bring this out. Let's go to the initial page, and today we are flying from Phoenix to Los Angeles. Align the IRS. We have a company route that we're going to use, which is Kilo Papa Hotel X-Ray Kilo Lima Alpha X-Ray 03. it's in here, we'll go Hotel X-Ray, and we'll go Kilo Lima Alpha. There we go, there's actually two, but one of them was for Las Vegas. Okay, and now we can put our flight number, which is American 2106. Our cost index today can be, we can do 25, but what we're actually going to do is we'll do 0 for the climb out, so the performance is better. I don't know what actually American do on their cost index, but you'll see that the aircraft will climb much quicker using a cost index of 0. And our cruise today is going to be flight level 300, which is nice and simple. And then we can do our weights quickly, which is 66.6, look at that. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. 25.6. And our block fuel is 5.6, that's a lot of 6s. And there's our fuel prediction, and our takeoff weight is there, 72.0. Now we can load our departure, which is going to be off runway 26, and we are going to be departing on the Keynes 2 departure. We'll be taking the transition to Bravo Lima Hotel. Now our arrival into LA is going to be a little bit different, because obviously the routing and how close we are, normally ATC would kind of slot us in on the arrival, so what we will do is we will set up for 25 left arrival, and we will take the Hollywood 1 arrival, and we won't do it via today. And then we can go to insert, and that's all set up and ready to go. And now we just need to do our performance takeoff and V-speeds. So we've just run our information through the takeoff performance calculator, and we now have everything set for our departure. So we are going to be using flaps 1 with a trim up of 3. We're going to be flexing today to 56. And our V-speeds today are 148, 149 and 151, which is nice and simple. And once that's done, we can go to the initial page and we can request our wind data. At cruise it should work as well, which I think it probably will do afterwards. And obviously the descent we can do later on. And that is pretty much it. We are set up to go, and now we're going to quickly just make sure that turn the seatbelt signs on. And now we're going to get ready to start the APU, so start the initial one, and let's start the APU. Okay, so the IRS is just about finished aligning. The cabin is ready to go for departure. So what we can do is set our usual, what we normally do, which is 12,000, which I do for departure. And it's 2982 currently, QNH set for Phoenix, and the ILS is now aligned. The APU is ready. You can now turn the APU bleed on. Turn the left and right fuel tanks on, and we should have turned this on as well. I'm sure it doesn't make too much of a difference, but mainly the aircraft is ready now, and we are now going to prepare for our pushback. Okay, so the aircraft is all ready to go. We are ready for pushback. The tow truck is just connecting. Seems like our weather radar is all set up as well.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay. Parking brake released. Start the clock.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
We're starting quite a quick turn. Oh, someone in there. Just creeping up on us like that. Didn't expect that. Okay, so we are now going to get ready for engine start. And let's go ahead and start number 2. Okay, and the pushback truck has actually pushed us off a little bit, which is a bit strange. And I've also just realised that we are using CFM engines, which is very strange because this livery should have IE engines. Save that. And now you should be a bit more impressed. And let's go ahead and start number 1, sorry.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
So we are ready now for taxi pretty much. I'm not sure why the econ flow is on. Technically we have to have less passengers, so we should turn that off. We can turn the APU bleed off. We'll do a quick aileron test. We'll go full left. Bring that down so you can see it full right. And that's full up. Full down. Neutral. Full right. Full left. Set flaps 1 for departure. So just before we go, we're going to quickly just double check if there are any altitude constraints on the departure, which I don't think there are, so we should be all good. Flaps have been set, water brake is on max, spoilers are armed, APU can come off, taxi light is on, brake released, and let's start our taxi, runway 26. Just going to make this right turn here. I decided to turn the sound down just a little bit because the air conditioning is quite loud on some of these sound packs when it comes to Airbus, and when we get into the with the engines included it may just get a bit too much, so we'll try and adjust that as we go along. And we'll take off from Bravo 11 instead, which still gives us more than enough runway. I'm sure that we will be able to do that. But it's nice, we do a little loop and we get a nice view of the city there, so that's even better. All's well that ends well. Okay, so let's line up and wait runway 26. And then we're going to quickly configure ourselves ready for departure. There we go. So we can probably apply the brake here. Yeah, we should have more than enough to get out. And we're just going to do our quick checks. Okay, so everything has been checked, we're all ready to go. We can turn the TCAS on. The landing lights can now come on because we are on an active runway. The strobe lights are on. I've also turned the sound up a little bit on my microphone because I realised that the aircraft is actually quite loud itself, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But everything is set up, ready to go. And as you can see, after departure we're going to make a left turn and work our way out. It will be a fairly quick departure. We're all ready to go. So let's release the parking brake. And let's apply 50% thrust. Or a bit more. And the brake apparently has not come off. And Manflex. I completely forgot it. Manflex 56 SRS runway auto thrust flow. There you go. And that's 80 knots. V1, rotate. And it looks like we did just have just enough runway by the looks of it. And that's positive climb, gear up, bring the nose up a little bit. We've got a bit of speed just to allow us to climb above this terrain here. Going to make our left turn out. Obviously we're about to hit that intersection there, there we go, and the Airbus wants us to maintain that left turn, maybe a bit too much there. Going to keep an eye on our pitch. Speed is coming back, passing 1,000 feet. And we're all good there. Maintain that level. Bring the nose down a little bit. We're very close to our stall speed, but the thing is this aircraft can manage this climb at this speed, and as we bring the nose down it's going to be able to bring that speed back into place, so we'll bring it to thrust climb and we can now activate autopilot 1. And immediately the speed is rising as we leave Phoenix. We're just working our way out, we're just about to pass Wolco. And now the slats are about to come in on the aircraft. And now we will select flaps up. Turn here as we work our way out of Phoenix. So we're well into our climb now, passing almost flight level 270, just about 3,000 feet off cruise. And again, as you can see, we're about 160 nautical miles from top of descent into Los Angeles. And it's a pretty simple arrival, as you can see on the navigation display. We pretty much do go in a set of straight waypoints which basically lead us down to runway 25 left. So effectively it's pretty much smooth sailing all the way out to Los Angeles now. The weather's pretty calm. We have a bit of a headwind at 50, which really doesn't inconvenience us too much. It gives us a little bit of turbulence on departure. As you can see, the views are really truly stunning. Some of the real benefits about using the ortho scenery in X-Plane, especially for where they are available. And of course Orbex releasing their True Earth products as well, which provide an even more immersive experience when it comes to ortho scenery. And if you have the hardware, or if you are capable to or able to run the ortho scenery provided by these companies, I definitely would recommend it. In some cases, some people have had better performance running ortho scenery than they have with default scenery, depending on the specs of the computer and etc. But most of the time it provides a really enjoyable experience, as when you're flying as such, we're flying real time over places in the world. I guess this is one of the benefits that people enjoy about new simulators, such as the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. But with X-Plane, to think that someone has corrected all of this to make it the way it is right now, available for us to use in the sim, is pretty incredible. Unfortunately, some of the exterior shots shot on today's flight haven't really been as good as expected when it's come to the F mod, and I think that's just because I've had to turn down some of the settings, because it is really loud when you go outside. It's pretty much like the A350 Mango Studio sound pack we were using the other day. When you're on the ground, it's extremely loud, so you have to turn down all the settings, otherwise it will just blow up your ears, essentially. So that's just a little recommendation if you do decide to use any of these sound packs. You can see that all of our altitude constraints are all set up, and we're going to descend to 1,900 feet initially, all the way to the end. And we're now going to start our descent, so we'll bring this down to 2, switch it out to just to 100, and then 1,900. We can now start our descent. Okay, so we're going to turn the landing lights on, turn the taxi light on, and we are getting really close to the approach on the ILS, 8,500 feet, we've got a few minutes to go. Okay, so everything is pretty much coming to plan for our arrival now. We're getting pretty close to the runway. We're about 20 DME, I'd say. Let's check the landing scope. Yep, 20 nautical miles now from runway 25 left. And the diamonds have just come alive on the localizer and the glide slope. And we can just start to see the runway in sight there. And this should start to go pretty quick as we continue our descent. Theoretically, if we stay at this speed, the glide slope should kick in before we reach 1,900 feet. So what we will do is we will try and focus on reducing our speed in just a second as we do get closer to the ILS, and the localizer is now starting to centralize on the primary flight display. Okay, so the localizer is just capturing now. We haven't selected the localizer, but the way how the waypoints work is just puts us in line with the runway, so watch that speed continue to come down. We're now approaching 10 DME, so I'd like to put some flaps out very soon. And now that glide slope is starting to come in, so we're going to activate flaps 1 now.
2,500.
So we're approaching 10 DME, so we can probably bring our speed back to about 160 now, so the aircraft doesn't struggle reducing that speed. Because as soon as the glide slope kicks in, we won't really have a chance to reduce any more speed. So I'm going to hope that speed does come back now, which it is, because we do have a bit of a headwind today.
2,000.
And now what we can do is we can select the localizer, because realistically we should be on it by now, and we are. And we can now select the approach course, which will now activate the glide slope, and we're now going to select flaps 2. So our glide slope is now descending us towards runway 25 left. Our speed is stable at about 180, and what we can do now is we'll do gear down, we'll do flaps 3, alarm our speed brake, quickly just tell the cabin crew that we are ready for landing. And what we can do is we can now push in our speed to go to managed mode, passing 1,000 feet, and we shall now select flaps full. So 1,000 feet, our checklist is complete, config is correct for our arrival. And it looks like a nice sunset in Los Angeles as we now take manual control. Slightly windy, but nothing major for our arrival this evening. If anyone has any of the Toliss products, you'll know that the Airbus fly-by-wire handle's a little bit different compared to the likes of the Flight Factor Airbus stuff. Just a bit of a matter of getting used to it. Bit too high, but we adjusted that now. That PVR on the taxiway, they're really providing some great lighting.
100.
And we're landing.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And we are down. And we can activate reverse thrust Speed brake spoilers are up. And we are decel 80 knots. And 60. We didn't make that turning just there, but we'll make this one here. Manual braking at 30. We could stop the clock at 58 minutes, so we just did complete it just under an hour. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Los Angeles. Okay, so we're going to taxi to the gate. Put the flaps up and the speed brakes up. Bring our speed down slightly. Turn our landing lights off. We'll keep the strobes on just so we can cross runway 25 right. Now we can turn the strobe light off, turn the TCAS to normal position, turn the taxi light to normal. And here we are in the wonderful short final Los Angeles airport. Again, another superb airport. We're actually using the Nimbus Phoenix today, and we're actually using the short final Los Angeles because both of the products are superb on optimization, and they just keep on getting better every single time an update comes out. Really, really immersive airports, especially for this side of the coast. And the lights have just come on, so we could probably decide where we're going to park. Probably could sneak us in here actually on 41 Alpha. It looks a bit... oh, actually it's 47 Alpha. We should be able to fit onto this gate though. There we go, can we stop? Wants us to go forward just a little bit more. It's a slight pain. We had just stopped the aircraft where we needed it. There we go. Oh, really? This docking system is playing with me.
6 hours later.
I give up. I swear. Fine Jetway, you win. Right, let's turn off the landing scope. Let's turn off the taxi light. And we can turn off the chrono on this side, so it was at 1 hour and 12 minutes, gate to gate, 58 minutes flight time. And now, as always, we will go and rewatch the landing quickly. that seemed to be an alright landing. The weather was quite nice, and I have managed to fix the issue with the jetway, so we should be in the correct position now. And what we can do is quickly go and connect the external power. And then we'll quickly activate that. There we go. And now we're ready for our shutdown. So let's shut down number 1. And we'll shut down number 2. And there we have it. We are shut down on stand. You can turn the beacon light off. You can turn the fuel tanks off. You can turn the seatbelt sign off. And that's the aircraft pretty much sorted. Open the door. Just double check that that jetway has connected, which to be honest it doesn't look like it has, so we quickly go into SAM and auto mode. There we go. And there we have it. We are all successfully shut down on the gate. Did have a few issues obviously during this flight, but apart from that, it's a pretty enjoyable flight, especially with this aircraft, the Toliss A321. Again, if you haven't had an opportunity to try it, I definitely would recommend you to try it out, because it is a great add-on and it has a lot of positives, especially when you're using it in places where you have high density scenery, such as LA. You have all of this, you know, beautiful scenic rendition of all of the houses and all of the city, and obviously the airport included, and this aircraft still runs superbly well, close to 60 FPS mainly during the entire flight. But once again, I do thank you for watching today. I hope that you did enjoy the video. Again, if you do have any suggestions or any places that you would like to see, don't hesitate to comment in the description below. But that is everything for today's flight, and I want to thank you again for staying to the end if you did. I do appreciate your support, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.